learn today. Children, soil is one of the most important natural resources. Soil is one of the most important natural resources. It forms the uppermost layer of the land on the earth. It forms the uppermost layer of the land on the earth. Generally, it contains fine particles of rocks, humus, air and water. Plants need soil to grow. Soil is the main source of nutrients and water. Soil is the main source of nutrients and water for the plants. And then children, today we are going to learn how soil is formed. So before that, the texture and the color of the soil is different in different regions of the world. The texture and color of the soil is different in different regions of the world. And let us learn how soil is formed. Millions of years ago, the earth's surface was covered with big boulders. The surface of the earth was covered with big boulders. So, when rocks over a long period have been broken down by the continuous action of heat, cold, water and air, it forms soil. This is called weathering of rocks or disintegrating rocks. Okay children, so weather helps in the making of soil. So that is the main point there. Weather helps in the making of soil. You can see the picture here, disintegrating rocks, first, second, third and fourth stage they have shown here. So you can just see here, due to the heat of the sun, what happens? Due to the heat of the sun, the rocks expand. Due to the heat of the sun, the rocks expand. In cold weather, the rocks contract to become smaller. The rocks become contract to become smaller in cold weather. So when this happens repeatedly, what happens? The rocks crack. You can see the cracks here. So when this happens, the rocks crack. Rain and snow get into the cracks and break them apart. Rain and snow get into the these cracks and break them apart. This keeps on happening over and over again. The smaller rocks travel long distance with flowing water and wind, creating smaller and smaller particles, leading to the creation of smaller and smaller particles. Thus, soil is formed. You can see children here. So, because due to the heat of the sun, the rocks expand, and then later you can see the cracks here. You can see the textbook also, and then you can see the small particles, and later it forms soil. So that is called disintegrating rocks. So let me move on to the composition of soil. You can see here. So what you have to do, children, here you have to collect some soil from the garden. Okay. So soil is a mixture. It is a mixture of variety of things in it. To check this, collect some soil from the garden there. Put it in a glass jar. Like this, and pour some water in it, and then leave it for few minutes without disturbing it. So then what happens? You will notice the different components of soil get settled down at the bottom here. You can see, and then it forms a different layers there. In the jar. Besides, it also contains air and water in it. And then you can see here, children. So when you put the soil in the glass jar and pour water and leave it undisturbed for some time, and then later when you so you can see the layers like this. So in that you can just observe there remains of dead plants, leaves and animals there, and also you can see the layers. You can see the leaves and dead particles of plants, leaves and animals, and also sticky layer here, and then first layer you can see the second layer, that is sticky layer here, and then third layer grains of rocks, and you can see small stones that settles down in the glass jar there. So that is humus, clay, sand and then gravel. So grains of rocks you can see in the third layer here, and then small stones that settles down at the bottom of the jar. So like that you can just see the layers there. Okay children, so this is composition of soil, and also they have given two activities here to show that soil contains moisture. Soil contains moisture or water. So what you have to do? So they have given here in the picture. You can just observe the picture here. Put some garden soil in that vessel. And cover it with the lid. Heat the vessel for some time. After putting the soil in the vessel, cover the vessel with the lid and then heat for some time. And then later remove the lid. When you remove the lid you can see the picture here. So when you remove the lid, you will see the tiny drops of water underside of the lid. You can just observe that one. You can just observe when you heat the soil in the vessel after covering. So you can just find the tiny droplets underside of the lid there. So this shows that soil contains moisture in it. This shows that soil contains water in it. And then another activity, that is to show that soil contains air. To show that soil contains air. So what you have to do, take some dry soil in a container. Take some dry soil in a container. Pour water carefully in the container. Okay, pour water carefully in the container. You will see some air bubbles. You will see some air bubbles coming out from the soil as air escapes in the forms of bubbles. When water is poured over it, this shows that soil contains air. This shows that soil contains air. So when you pour water, you can see that bubbles. So what happens there? The air escapes in the form of bubbles. So that we can prove that this shows that soil contains air and soil also contains water. Okay, children? So let me end my class here. In the next class, we are going to learn about types of soil and then importance of soil. We will to learn in the next class. Okay, children, I hope you have understood. Just to see the picture, if you want to do any activity whatever I told here, so just take help of your elders. Okay, thank you, children.